All right. Kevin back with you with another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Gina Gabel and Priscilla Heffelfinger. Welcome, Gina and Priscilla. So awesome to have you on the show today.
Thanks for
Great to
having
be here.
us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when I found, well, I'll start. I want to give a shout out to the folks over at the Quoted platform because that's how we met. And who was it let me see here. So it was Lauren who reached out to me on the Quoted platform. She saw a post that I had put there looking for guests for the podcast. And I will tell you, Lauren is really good at talking the two of you up. And she sent me such an amazing message, and I'm like, oh heck yeah, I would love to have a conversation and get to know Gina and Priscilla, and so we got to have that conversation, and I was and it, I always just kind of go and look at websites beforehand to just kind of see who I'm going to be talking with and all of that kind of stuff. And after looking at your guys' website, I was just so inspired by and I don't want to like spill the beans here in advance, but I was just so inspired by what the two of you are doing and the impact you're making. And I know I shared that with you when we spoke the first time. I'm just like, wow, I was so excited to have that conversation, just get to know you two a little bit more. And I've been really looking forward to this interview because I know that you are just going to be so inspiring for so many of our listeners and stuff. And I'm just excited to get this out there and share it with folks. And so what we'll do is we'll just start. I'll just ask a nice and we'll go back and forth because most of the time when I do these interviews, I'm interviewing one CEO, one founder. But we've done probably out of the 400 or so we've done, I've probably done 3 or 4 interviews where I did it with co-founders and stuff like this. And so we'll just kind of go with the flow here. And when I ask questions, you can each of you answer or one of you answer or whatever feels right for each of you. And we'll just have a heart-to-heart conversation today. And to just kick us off, I'll just ask a nice simple question to start. What is it that you guys are doing? And tell us about that and just kind of the impact that you're making and stuff.
Okay, I guess I'll start and then Gina, you add in there.
Sure.
So Thrive was started in 2012, so about 13 years ago, or
Okay.
almost 14 now. And with really, Gina and I had moved to Bangladesh with our families for our husband's work. And our families at the time, our children were quite young. And we would see kids about the ages of our children begging on the streets of Bangladesh, right there on Gulshan Circle. And
Okay.
so we went to a nearby school just to see how we could help out, just because we had not seen that kind of poverty before.
Mhm.
And the school teachers said, can you just bring these kids food? So without a game plan, without a business plan, we just said, sure. And Thrive was started with a simple banana to one school 1 time a week. But
Wow.
it quickly grew, and this is where I think Thrive is so unique in that it quickly grew because people both back home in the US and then people living in Bangladesh, both locals and expats said, let's jump in. We want to be part of this.
Uh-huh.
So from almost day 2, it was not just Gina and I, although we maybe instigated it, everybody wanted to be part of it because it's
Wow.
such a simple thing to do and has such an impact. A simple school meal gets kids to school, gets them healthy, and on and on. Like great things keep happening. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So well, I'm just trying to, I want to, I don't, I got a way that I kind of want to steer this. So what inspires the two of you most about the work that you get to do and the impact that you are now making? And maybe you both have
Well,
different answers to this question too.
we might. Um, I think it's really important to understand the level of poverty that we witnessed.
Okay.
Um, I mean, a lot of people see it, in movies, but when you're actually living there and you're like smelling it and you're looking at these little kids that are the same age as your own kids, and they are like hope, like so much hope in their eyes that you will give them some food. in the level of hunger that accompanies that level of poverty is one that just, I don't think anybody with a kind heart could really sit with very long and not do something about.
Yeah.
So when you ask what inspires me, it's how easy it is to combat this childhood hunger at a micro level. A lot of times, childhood hunger is a massive issue. And a lot of times people get paralyzed because they don't think that it's easy to make a meaningful difference. And I think the fact that it is like for $10 a month, you can feed a kid school meals every single day.
Mhm.
Um, that's what's inspiring to me is to just see the impacts, how easy it is to make the impact for that child's life, and then how it ripples across their community, their families, their communities. And that is what I think is most inspiring to me is just that it's easy, and meaningful
Yeah.
and far-reaching.
Yeah. Priscilla, do you have anything to add to what Gina just
I
shared?
think the only piece I'd add is we just recently added where we have moms being paid to cook the meals. And it's really empowering and unbelievable to spend time with these moms and hear what they do when they get that first paycheck, their first steady paycheck ever. Like, for example, one mom said, "Oh, well, I bought a washing machine," which may not seem like a big deal to people in the States, but before she had to go way down to the river to wash her clothes.
Oh,
And
wow.
not only is she now able to have convenience, but she's an entrepreneur. She's turned it into a business. So now she's doing other people's laundry in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So just watching what her cooking our meals turns her life around and turns her community's life around makes us want to do more of the work. And even though we're so thrilled that we feed almost 4,000 kids a day now, we have thousands of kids and schools on our wait list. So although we're like, oh, this is so great how Far Thrive's come, we know there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
inspires me to keep going.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed is, on your website each year you put out this annual report and stuff. And I didn't look at every year's, but I looked at the first year and then I looked at the last year that you guys put out your annual report. And what was glaringly obvious is the growth and where you started and where you are now. And so you just kind of alluded to it, Priscilla. So with where you're at right now, and you've got, you've had this growth over the years. What's your vision from your current vantage point now that you're looking forward? What's your vision going forward for this?
I'll start and then Gina, you want to add?
Okay.
Sure.
So for sure we want to, one thing that Thrive does that's different than maybe a lot of feeding programs is we feed the kids every single school day. And when we partner with a school, we stick with that school. So our number one is to stick with the schools that we currently serve. Our number two, and this is what I think a lot of your audience is probably, it lives in as well, is the growth. So as I touched on, we do know schools that have asked for our support that we aren't able to serve.
Okay.
And we have one school, for example, in the Philippines where we serve the elementary portion of the school, but we currently aren't serving the high school. So we want to first feed those kids that are on our wait list schools. We often get the question, would you ever feed in other countries? Like we know that now you feed in Bangladesh and the Philippines, would you be open to feeding other places? And Gina and I both believe that a hungry kid is a hungry kid, and we want to meet that kid where we can. But we also know that the countries we currently serve, the need is so great. So, we'll continue to feed where we can and also commit to those kids for the long term.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Very
yeah,
good.
I think that's it. Gina, want to add to that at all?
No, you nailed it.
And what a powerful place to come from. So that, I mean, that these schools and the kids at these schools just know that they can count on, if I go to school, I will be fed. I will be fed. And they can just take that thing off their shoulders of something that they've got to be concerned about. And I mean, and that's
Well,
not a small thing. That's a big, fat, hairy deal.
And I think that like a big fat hairy deal. Um, I also, it's not just those kids that are knowing that the food is there. It's those parents that are knowing that the food is there for their kid. I mean, there's a many ways you can look at childhood hunger and what we're doing, and you can look at it through the eyes of a child, but oftentimes I find myself looking at it through the eyes of a parent and realizing that if I didn't have enough money to feed my own kid, I would be so grateful if somebody could help me do that.
Yeah.
And to think that that's a reality for moms and dads all over the world, and to know that not only are our Thrive and our donors providing school or providing food, they're also providing a chance at an education because with each meal comes I guess the opportunity to go to school.
Mhm.
And we've seen attendance rates rise and enrollment rise just because of a simple meal of protein and vegetables.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, for
Wow.
example, Kevin, we had a school we were serving where the kids were just not showing up. They had about a 66% attendance rate.
Okay.
They were usually helping their parents in the seaweed farms, and the parents just found that, and they needed the support, they needed the help. But when those parents heard that Thrive was providing those daily school meals, they make sure those kids get there. And now that school has an average of a 99% attendance rate every day because
Wow.
that meal really is the impetus to get them to the school. And then, of course, once you sit in the chair, you hopefully start to learn and, find what it most excites you to do and give to back to the world. So hopefully it's a
Wow.
full circle with our children that we serve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay, so now that we've got some context set here, and listeners have an idea, a little bit of an idea about who you are and what you're all about and what you're doing. I want to switch gears just a little bit, and I want to start talking about the relationship side of all this. So, and we'll start with you, Priscilla, and then we'll let you answer the question too, Gina, because I want to hear both of your answers to this question. So, have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person or persons? And I'm just really excited to hear each of your stories and experiences around this topic of relationships.
You gave us a hint that this question might come up. So Gina and I talked, and we both had the same answer to some degree. So I'll start it, and I'm sure she'll add to it.
Okay.
We call them the Bangladesh rock stars. And there's three women, Amna, Sadia, and Kanwal, that we met in Bangladesh. They all three still live there now. And we were introduced to them. There's a businessman named Arsalan. He introduced us to them at a focus group. He said, "Come share about Thrive and see who reacts to it, who cares about it." And those three women came up to us afterwards and said, "We want to be part of this." And they are so instrumental in taking Thrive forward. And they take us forward in such big and thoughtful ways, um, and introduced us both to a culture that we aren't part of. Neither of us are Bangladeshi. Neither of us grew up overseas, and so we get to have them as friends. We get to have them as partners in the business and growing Thrive, and we get to just be part of their lives. So, for example, right now they're in the process of planning this very big Bangladesh fashion show where they're bringing the top designers of Bangladesh together with all the dignitaries. Like, so different ambassadors will walk down the runway, I guess you
Okay.
say, with the designers. And like that wouldn't have necessarily crossed my mind. Like I'm kind of used to bake sales. So these women like really take it to a whole next level. But we just love being part of their lives.
Wow, what a cool story. What a cool story. Gina, what would you add? So
Well, and
you
that's
guys
also,
go
oh no,
ahead.
well, that's also, the reason why we are still existing in Bangladesh right now, because shortly after we started, there was a terrorist attack in the country where a lot of expats left.
Okay.
And if we didn't have a strong local base, our whole operation would have stalled. And then with COVID, similar thing. Expats left, and since we had such strong local connections, we were able to continue to serve all throughout COVID. In fact, we've only missed 3 days of school meals in the last 13 years.
Wow.
And that is truly because we have a strong local base, because we are introduced to those three people.
Wow. Wow. That, I mean, that is really phenomenal when you consider the impact that those three people have had on the work that you two began and how they become such an integral part of it. I mean, what a beautiful example of like the value of right relationships, you know. And so how have these three people impacted or inspired each of you to just continue doing? I mean, how has that played into just your commitment to all of this?
You know, Amna, one of the women, always says, if you do things with pure of heart, good things come out of it. And so Thrive, like any organization or business, has had its stumbling blocks. Gina touched on some. There's been terrorist attacks, there's been floods, fires, you name it, we've been through it, including the pandemic, like everybody else. And I think she's really inspired us to take one step at a time, stay honest and clear to your mission. So, not to stray from your mission, even though sometimes people offer you lots of money to go a different direction, just stay the course. Um, and not look away, like just continue to move, put one foot in front of the other is really her way of going about living, and has really, I think, inspired Thrive to just keep going.
Yeah.
I would just add to that. I think also, like, because they're on the ground seeing the work, it's just a constant reminder of the impact. They'll come back with a story or two from a school visit. And just hearing those stories about a kid that just did well on a math exam, or just got to be in her first journalism contest, or all these different things that we see of the outcomes of the children that are served, it just really motivates us to keep at it,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then can I break the rules a little bit?
Absolutely. Go right ahead,
I
Gina.
have one more.
Okay,
I
go.
think Priscilla has one more too.
Okay, perfect.
Um, when we first started delivering food, it was, I think, our third week in, and our menu at that point was a boiled egg and some vegetables, local vegetables. And we had noticed that some of the kids, in fact, a lot of the kids were not eating their boiled eggs. And being new to Bangladesh, we thought, do they not know they're boiled? Have they never had a boiled egg before? And we asked the little girl through a translator, why she wasn't eating her egg. And she said it was because she wanted to take it home and share it with her family.
Mhm.
And I think that moment with that child and hearing her story is the reason that we have never stopped. Because if that one tiny little boiled egg is so treasured to a little 5-year-old girl, enough that she wants to share it with her family, there's no way that we can stop delivering those school meals because those kids are counting on us. So while that relationship, I mean, she probably has no idea who I am, but that, I guess, one-sided relationship, that meeting really, really has inspired moving us forward. And me personally, I have a little picture of a child from Bangladesh with a little egg that I have in my house is just a little reminder of, how precious food is.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So, Priscilla, you had somebody else that you wanted to honor as well?
Um, yeah, I was actually gonna say somebody, but now I'm flipping it to Gina instead, because Gina, and I think she's a really good instrument for anybody who's in the business world or in the startup world. She just said, let's do something. And so when we jumped into that first banana, we told people we were thinking about doing this, and then we were met with all sorts of reservations and concerns, and things weren't well thought out. And she says, we'll catch it as we go. Like, let's just start small, let's start simple. And I think Gina's kept that kind of promise throughout the work. And I think it's why Thrive has been able to be as successful as it has been, is we've kept our work really simple and we've stayed true to just saying yes. And bringing the community along and really letting the community help lead the work itself. So I don't think with Gina saying yes to that first banana, we would have ever started. So
And that
Wow.
was like the easiest thing. Priscilla does all the heavy lifting right now.
The two of you make an incredible team, don't you? You guys make a really great team together. Yeah.
Thanks. It's fun.
Uh, so, is there any last thing that either of you feel led to share before we call it a wrap?
I would just, I mean, I know that you have your audience is a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of times entrepreneurs start out just like we did, very small. Um, and I think that, there's a lot of businesses that are looking for ways to give back to the world. And I would share that if you have like any listeners who are at all inspired by the work we do, to share with them that it's really easy to get involved. And we have businesses of all sizes helping us do our work and in all different ways. And at a buy-in really of $10 a month to feed a kid every single day, you are changing a child's life. And with um, uh, the added piece of our program where we're paying moms, that changes generations.
Yeah.
And so it's just my message always is it's just so easy to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Priscilla, is there anything that you want to add to that?
I think Gina covered it. I think we're in a good spot. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, like join in and join it's like you said, it looks like you're a fun group to work with. We are like, we try to keep the work, or we do keep the work fun. Because what we're doing is not only important, but it's also fun.
Yeah.
See, being with the kids, whether it's virtually on a Zoom, which we do with a lot of businesses and individuals that support us, we do Zooms with the kids and the parents. Or if you have the opportunity to come with us on a country visit and meet the kids and the parents firsthand, it's a life changer in both ways. So um, we just invite you to be part of it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So for anybody that's listening to this, I want to make sure. So let's give out your guys' website and stuff, and I'm going to make sure that we include that. So in fact, just look down below here in the links with the show notes. You'll find the link to their website at thrive-global.org. You'll also find links to Priscilla and to Gina's LinkedIn profiles and stuff. And so when somebody goes to your website, what is the best? How do they navigate, and what's the best way for them to find out how they can get involved, whether they're an individual or whether they're the founder of a company or what have you? How do they navigate your website and find out the best way to get involved?
Okay, so there's this really great donate button in the upper right-hand corner. That's one way you can get involved. And then you can reach us at our first names at thrive-global.org
Okay.
to reach, and you can, have personal contact with us and we can help lead you down the right path. But as you search through the website and the like menu bar, there will be all the different ways to get involved.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, I want to thank both of you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. And it has just been such an honor getting to know the two of you. I am like so inspired by the work that you're doing. And I'm excited to get this interview out there because I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs that this is really going to speak to, and that people are just going to want to get involved after hearing this and finding out about the work that you guys do. And so, thank you so much again for taking the time to have this conversation. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate both of you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for
thank you.
inviting us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for letting us be part of this.
Absolutely.